Before I get into the story, I need you to understand something about a place called Salt Fork State Park in southeastern Ohio. It's the largest state park in the entire state of Ohio, over 70,000 acres of dense forest. Most people who go there are hiking, maybe fishing, maybe staying at the lodge. It's a beautiful place, but a lot of people go there for something else entirely. Because here's the thing: Ohio ranks fourth in the entire country for Bigfoot sightings, behind only Washington, California, and Florida. And Salt Fork, the Bigfoot capital of Ohio. They have a map of the park that literally shows you where the sightings have happened. They hold an annual Bigfoot Conference there every year, which has been running since 2005. USA Today named it one of the top 10 squatchiest places in America. There's even a section of the park officially called Bigfoot Ridge. I'm not making this up. In Ohio, the creature isn't usually called Bigfoot or Sasquatch. It has its own name, the Ohio Grassman, and the myth around it goes back for centuries. The Grassman is described as standing 6 to 8 feet tall, sometimes taller, dark fur, footprints between 13 and 17 inches long, and unlike the nomadic Sasquatch of the Pacific Northwest, the Grassman is said to build nests, crude structures made of bent grass and reeds. Which brings me to a man, well, let's call him Dale. He doesn't want to be identified. Dale was 34 years old. He worked in logistics, a job that required him to be organized, methodical, detail oriented. He was not a person prone to exaggeration. He was the kind of guy who showed up early, kept his receipts, and never told a story he couldn't back up. He was also an avid hiker. He'd been doing this since college, and in October of 2019, he decided to take a solo trip to Salt Fork State Park for a long weekend. 3 nights. Just him, a decent tent, a headlamp, and a trail map. He told his wife he'd check in every evening at 7 p.m. He arrived on a Friday afternoon. The sky was that specific shade of gray that Ohio does in October. Not quite cloudy, not quite clear. Dale set up his campsite near the primitive campground, the area closest to Bigfoot Ridge. He'd read about the sightings. He was curious. He wasn't scared. That first night, nothing happened. He made a fire, ate his dinner, listened to the woods go quiet as the temperature dropped, and went to sleep. Saturday, he hiked about 11 miles through the interior trails. The terrain there is rough. He saw a deer, a red-tailed hawk, a family of raccoons that tried to raid his pack. Normal stuff. Great day. He called his wife at 7 p.m., right on schedule. Told her the park was beautiful. Told her she'd love it. Promised to bring her back in the spring. He fell asleep around 10 o'clock. He woke up at 2:47 in the morning. Now Dale had camped dozens of times. He knew the sounds of the woods at night, the crack of a branch settling, the skitter of an animal in the leaves, wind through the canopy. He'd heard all of it before. What woke him up was silence. He described it later as a dead zone. Every insect gone, every bird gone. The entire forest had simply stopped. And Dale, the methodical, detail oriented, not prone to exaggeration man, said that in 20 years of camping he had never experienced anything like it. because silence in the woods at night doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like a warning. So he lay still inside his tent, listening. For about 3 minutes, there was nothing. And then came the smell. He described it as the worst thing he'd ever encountered, like something between a wet dog, raw meat, and a backed up sewer. It was strong. It came from everywhere, not from one direction, just everywhere, like it had saturated the air around him. Then he heard it move. Not a rustle, not a small sound, something heavy, something with weight, and it was moving through the brush about 40 feet off to his left. He could hear the displacement of it, the way the undergrowth compressed and snapped under whatever was walking through it. And it was walking not on four legs, two. Footfalls, deliberate, rhythmic, 2 feet, getting closer. Dale said he didn't breathe. He wasn't a religious man, but he said the word please in his head about 40 times. He gripped his flashlight, but he didn't turn it on. The footsteps slowed, stopped, and then from maybe 20 feet away, something knocked. A single hard impact, like a baseball bat hitting a tree trunk. A sound researchers called a wood knock. It's a behavior that's been reported for decades by witnesses across the country in which no one has ever been able to definitively explain. Then a knock, one time, then silence again. Dale said it felt like being looked at, not like being stopped, not like something was preparing to attack. He said it felt like assessment, like something was deciding what he was. He stayed in that tent until sunrise. He didn't sleep. He didn't open the zipper. When the light finally came and the birds started up again and the world sounded normal, Dale unzipped his tent and walked to the tree line. What he found there stopped him cold. In the soft mud near the edge of the brush, there were two footprints, just two, pressed deep into the earth in a way that suggested it had an enormous weight. Each print was close to 16 inches long. The stride, length between them, the distance from one foot to the next, was over 5 feet. He measured them with a ruler on his Swiss Army knife. He broke camp that morning. He was on the highway before noon. Now, was it a bear? Bears can leave unusual impressions in the mud, and bears have been misidentified before. Was it a person? Some hoaxer wandering the woods at 3 a.m. in October to scare a solo camper? Maybe. But here's what I keep coming back to: the dead zone, that silence. Experience, outdoors people, rangers, researchers, seasoned campers have described the same phenomenon. That specific, unnatural quiet that settles before a sighting. There's no good explanation for it. Animals don't go silent for nothing. Something causes it. And the smell. Multiple witnesses at Salt Fork, at Wayne National Forest, at sighting locations across Ohio have independently described the exact same odor without knowing about each other's account, without coordinating their stories. And the wood knock, one single impact on a tree in the dead of night with no follow up. Well, if you're a hoaxer trying to terrify someone, wouldn't you do more than that? Wouldn't you make more noise? Wouldn't you try harder? Unless you weren't trying to terrify him at all. Dale went back to Salt Fork the following spring with his wife this time. They stay at the lodge, the stone castle in the woods. They didn't camp in the primitive area, but he went back. Because that's the thing about this park and about this creature and about whatever was standing in those trees at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's not just a scary story, it's a question that 17,000 acres of dense Ohio forest still has not answered, and maybe never will. Stay safe in the woods and see you in the next one.